Welcome. This podcast is a series of candid conversations exploring the human experience from a completely new perspective. In it, we will be diving deeply into the meaning of commonly used words and pointing you away from that old stressful way of looking at life and towards a new paradigm. This will help you find a sense of calm, cultivate meaningful relationships, and create harmony in every aspect of your life. Here is Navigating Life with Ease with Michaela, Ellis and Clare Downham.
Hey, Clare.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good. Well, great, because I have a word for you.
Marvellous.
That is trust.
That's a good one. The first thing that came to mind is I have some trust issues. Is the first thing that came to mind when I heard that word. Unfortunately, in my early life, I have a brother, just the one, and he had a tendency to be footloose and fancy free with the truth, which, as the older sister, meant that I got into trouble a lot. So that kind of probably not cemented, but put some things in place around trust. And then I've had other relationships where the person has lied a lot in those relationships. But although that's what first pinged to mind as I'm kind of talking about that, I'm thinking that's not really what's most important, what other people have done. I think what I see more and more that it's important that I trust myself. That never mind what everybody else did. And I think I probably do more than I used to. And I think that is because I know myself and I know how to navigate me much better than I used to. I used to get caught up in things easily and then, make unhelpful decisions, which then would lead to a bit of a mess. And then it'd be like, oh, I've cocked up again. And, that because I've been running from that outside in misunderstanding and trying to put the world out there right frantically and in a very controlling way. So it meant that I often just thought, why is life just a mess? And then I would blame myself for having made a bad decision or whatever, because I didn't know that when I had an upset feeling in my body, that meant that my thinking wasn't particularly trustworthy. And now I do more of the time. I can still lose my mind. Big time. But more of the time now, I trust that when I'm in a good feeling, I'm going to make some cracking decisions, and I can trust that. Like, what is the myself I'm trusting? Well, it's not really. It's trusting that my feelings are guiding me all the time. And I had I'll share with us. I had a big thing happen last week before. I was chatting to ChatGPT about a proposal for a piece of work, and a price for this piece of work came up on the screen, and I spontaneously burst into tears. Like, not just like a little trickle, like a proper, like proper sobbing over this number. It was like a visceral reaction. It was so, I couldn't even pinpoint a thought. It was very unconscious, like a reaction that just was, just, and like a number of ways I would have navigated around that in the past would have been to distract myself and do something else and procrastinate and not think about the proposal and probably make a mess of it and not do it or not make the proposal or whatever, or just busy myself in some other way, just try and avoid the feeling. And I didn't. I just sat with the feeling, let myself cry, like let myself properly snotty sobbing for a few minutes, And as I calmed down, as I kind of started to breathe better, and breathing was part of what I was doing while I was kind of going through that, these two really clear, I feel like trustworthy ideas came through. The first one was, go and look at what this industry pay for training, because it was obviously this industry, this person I was speaking to had spent a lot of money on training. And when I looked at that, it was like, oh, okay, this number's going to look like pennies to this person. And then the other one was to contact somebody I know who does a lot of public speaking and workshops and things like that, and to ask him. And that turned into a fabulous conversation with him, where he gave me loads of fantastic tips about having that kind of conversation with a business owner, and it was just really, really useful. And that, to me, to trust that, yes, we're all going to get upset, we're all going to lose our minds sometimes over things, but if we kind of know that's not the place from which to make our decisions, that we wait until the more aligned, I guess, spirit guided thoughts come through, they're going to come always from a good feeling. And that's where we can trust, I think, that if we feel good, we're going to make the better decisions. They might not look like they're working out the way we might want them to, but they will, in the end, kind of work out. So I think that's where I am with trust, I think, now, is knowing that kind of I'm trustworthy when I'm in a good place, and I'm not when I'm stirred up, and to try and navigate to be more in that calmer place more of the time, in the good feeling. How about you?
Yeah, that was beautiful, Claire. Yeah, in talking about the feeling, in talking about trusting yourself, and this whole, what I really see about it, and it was something that I saw more clearly or differently a few months ago. I heard something, it was something Michael Neal said about trust in a program I did with him a few years ago, actually. And it was about that it's never about trusting another. We say, can I trust you? Or I'm going to put my trust in you. It's like, it's not like that at all. It's always, because it is an inside out experience of life that we are creating and living for ourselves. It's always about trusting ourselves. And I've heard in the past from clients, I don't trust myself, or I can't trust myself. And I really see that the only reason those things come up, because I have felt that too. And there's still some things in my life that I might think that, oh, I can't trust myself in that. It's like, I absolutely can. We are 100% trustworthy to ourselves. It's the only thing that we can trust. And it is in just the knowing, and we've all experienced that knowing a million and times 20 moments in our life since we were born. When we first started to walk and talk, and we were trusting ourselves. We were trusting the body that we use to express, to take a step, to form a word, to move in a direction, to speak, to put up our hand, to have a conversation, to say hello, to make decisions. And yeah, it's all about, what comes to mind is this book. I think his name is Gavin de Becker, something like that. And he wrote it. He was some kind of a former FBI or CIA agent, something like that. And he was interviewing people who had been victims of violent or various crimes. And he proved to them throughout when they were first met with the perpetrator. There was things that they felt all along the way. There was different points of, so that was a point of choice, and it was just ignored because of them telling themselves like, oh, don't be silly, or oh no, what are people going to think, because it seems so weird that I'm going here and then all of a sudden I'm turning around, like that's going to look odd. It was only the personal mind thinking that got in the way. So we can all trust ourselves. That wisdom truly is guiding us. It's never not there at, I was going to say at hand, but of course it's like running through us. So it is there. So, and we can trust it. We have trusted it. And the only time that we ever think that we can't trust ourselves is when, we've made a decision and it didn't turn out. And then from there, we look outside and it's like, see, I can't trust myself. But it's just not true. It's just not true. And if we each really took the time to see all of the little decisions that made, like, we're of an age in life where we've made many, many decisions, many, many. And there were so many of them that got us to where we are. And yes, even the ones where we didn't listen and we made the decision with our thinky mind instead of, that inner knowing, that feeling of, this is right, or a good feeling in the body, however we describe that. It's got us here, and it'll take us the rest of the way too. And it's just knowing that we're not putting our trust in another ever. It's always about ourselves. And how, that's something to consider actually. How many times have we said that you can trust them, or I can trust them, or whatever. And it's like, let's bring that home to where it really belongs. That is you trusting yourself. Yeah, it's kind of cleared up a lot for me. I didn't really understand how much it kind of cleared up, but it sort of took out, let's say it took out the middleman of where trust is. It's like, yeah, I'm not trusting another person or association or government or whatever. It's like, I'm trusting myself in my parenting and what to put in my body. I can look at it as like, okay, the sign says, FDA approved and organic and all that. Can I really trust that? It's like, well, forget about that. Can I trust myself? Does this feel like a good choice for me? And where is it coming from? Not from figuring it out, but from that guidance that we've got going for us all the time. Yeah, anyways, that's what kind of came to mind this morning and thinking about the word. And it's like, oh, let's explore this. Trust.
And it's interesting, isn't it, when there's so many inputs, so many almost vying for our trust. Products to, at the moment, I don't know what it's like over there, but the weight loss injections have gone spiraling through the roof in this. There's so many people paying for them now to RO, and can't remember what the other one's called. But, there's something there about, people often almost giving away their trust to other things, other people. I've been there in my business so much where in the past it was every Instagram ad that said, buy your $27 system to get a £1 million coaching business or whatever. Like really, I bought into so many of those. Probably still got loads of them floating around in an account somewhere or a folder on my computer. But we're never going to be the answer, because that they weren't coming from me, and they weren't. So some of the time I kind of tried to force myself to do them, or didn't really do them, and they're just sitting gathering dust, complete waste of money, because it can really look like there's a right way to do things. And I think that can really take us away from what's right for us, whether that is business or food or parenting or literally anything. This is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that the voice that we better off trusting can sound a bit like, really, you really want me to do that? There's a story that Grace Kelly tells. I've heard her tell it a couple of times, where after her partner dies, she's sort of really struggling she doesn't want to be in a business because she's not got the mental space to coach, and she's really caught up, and she's like asks intuition, asks spirit for a sign of what she should do. And this voice comes through, go to London. And she's like, what? I've got no money and I'm struggling, and you want me to go to London, for crying out loud? And then she goes for a walk with her dog. And as she's walking with the dog just starts pulling in. They've got this little route they normally go on. The dog just starts going in a different direction. And she just allows, she sort of said, Spirit, give me a sign that this London thing is what I'm supposed to do. And off she goes. And they get to this wall with the graffiti on, and the word London is written on the graffiti. And so she's like, wait. And then she goes to London, and then she has the idea while she's in London. She ends up working with some people, so she makes some money. But then she also has the idea for the Living Miraculously program, which obviously her and Dominic are just running again now. It just started last week. No, this week. It started on Monday. And so it's sometimes it can sound a bit left of field, and you're like, am I really supposed to do that? And I've had that, where it says, oh, why don't you reach out to so and so? I can't ask them anything. Just reach out to them. And when I had that moment with the big figure and the I won't say big figure, that figure that caused that reaction. The person who it suggested I reached out to, I wouldn't ordinarily, it's not somebody I'd ordinarily chat to. And he was really so gracious and so helpful. So, but it felt good. It felt something I could trust as an idea of a next step. And I think that is it. If it feels good, it's good, trust that feeling. Because it's almost like that feeling is coming from your heart. Like, if you think about the heart, it's love, it's connection. There's something about it feeling. Sometimes bodily wise, it almost feels like it comes from down here. When we're spiraling, in our heads, going over and over something, trying to find the thing we can trust, trying to find the solution. And all the time, there's that little voice that's grounded in something very different. Peace, love, and wisdom.
Peace, love, and wisdom. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. It's not that, I'm glad you came back to you talking to someone about it. Because it's not that if they said something that didn't feel right to you, you wouldn't follow that. But you're checking in. It's key. Our body is tremendous. That's our indicator of whether we're following our wisdom guidance or we're trying to push and force and figure something out with our personal mind. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what I see about help, like learning new things or getting help from somebody. That could be, like, for me in that situation, was an intuitive nudge that came from, it came from a place that made sense. It was like, yeah, that really makes sense. And it came from me rather than somebody offering me, like, from a place of desperation, me buying all those $27 build your coaching business nonsenses, or somebody. I had an experience recently where I had a an hour's coaching with somebody who didn't do coaching and just told me what to do for an hour. And that I came away from that going, well, that was unsolicited advice. It's not the same thing as when you hear, why do you ask so-and-so about that? They know a bit about that. Go and ask them. So it's not that we don't ever take information from other people or ask other people questions who might know a bit more about something than us on a practical level. But yeah, first of all, that needs to become that way round, where you go, oh, I'm going to ask so-and-so about that because I know they know. Like quite a lot of people reach out and ask me for help with Insight Timer or techie stuff or whatever. The brain that's like, a bit geeky. So, but that it's that way round that we can trust. I think but whereas if it's coming from out in, and it's somebody else's idea about what we should be doing or what we should be trusting.
Yeah.
That's not got us the same feeling to it.
Yeah. Really good. Thank you very much.
That is a good word, actually.
Yeah. Till next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Ciao. Hey, thank you for being a part of Navigating Life with Ease. We'd love to hear your feedback and receive a review on your favorite podcast platform. This will help others who'd also like more ease in their life to find us. We're here to support you, so if you've any words you'd like us to explore or you've a question, please reach out to us at navigatinglifewithease@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes of Navigating Life with Ease.